Hi, my name is Harold and welcome to the Sanctum. So in this videos, my friends, I'm going to talk about a very interesting subject, and that subject is astral projection. Now, there are many videos that you can find not only on my channel but on many other channels on YouTube on astral projection. However, in this particular video, I'd like to talk about two different forms of astral projection, or two different kinds of astral projection that we all can experience if we open ourselves up to it and carry out the necessary training and exercises to do so. One type of astral projection is known as, or what I like to call, lunar projection, and the other kind is what I like to call solar projection. So, lunar astral projection is what most of us are familiar with, or those who look into astral projection discover for the first time. And essentially, lunar projection is where an element of our energy, imprinted with our mental body, is projected into the astral, allowing us to travel astrally and experience the astral plane. Now, this is the easiest for all of us to achieve, and I'm sure many of you all who follow this channel have experienced that or are attempting to do the necessary work to achieve that form of astral projection. Now, all of us are doing this whether we realize it or not, especially younger kids below the age of 10, when the mental and astral matrices are still thin. Kids are astral projecting all the time. But the thing is, this form of astral projection that we're carrying out every day, when we go to sleep, we never seem to remember it. And the whole point is that we want to be able to remember these experiences and be able to even consciously do it so that we can make use of this particular tool, as it can be used to gain a lot of knowledge, insight, and explore different states of being and different realms of existing. So, lunar projection is quite safe in the fact that, sometimes people think that when you astral project that you can get stuck, or usually they would experience seeing a silver cord connected from the center of their body, usually their solar plexus, connecting them to their physical body when they're outside astral traveling. Now, sometimes people worry that this particular cord can be severed and the person would die. This is impossible. The cord can stretch indefinitely and infinitely, so you can travel as far as you possibly can, because once again, space does not really exist in the astral, it's infinite, and there is no time either. So, spending a minute in the astral, or more like spending hours or days in the astral, feels like barely any time has even passed, maybe a few seconds, maybe a minute in physical time, in linear time. So now you're not actually leaving your body when you're doing a lunar projection. It is only a projection of an element of energy into the astral with your mental body infused into it so that you can perceive and experience the astral. Now, the reason why you sometimes maintain a form or the normal shape of your body is because you're used to existing in a body. So your mental body, when I mean mental body, I'm talking about the mind. That mental perspective is used to being in a body. So naturally, when you astral project, the energy takes the form of a body because you're used to being that way. But if you notice it and let go of it, you notice that there is no body, right? It's just awareness. Now, solar projection is a lot harder. And I'll be honest, this is something that I've only experienced once in my life by accident. And I'm not really going to say exactly how, or at least not right now. But this particular kind of astral projection is a lot rarer. And this is where the soul actually leaves the body. Now, this is what we call, that's where the term soul comes from. Soul comes from sol, Sol, which is sol, solar, sun. Right? So, solar projection is where the actual solar essence, the soul, leaves the body. When this happens, it's a completely different experience. Now, this is where danger can take place if the right preparation isn't, if the right precautions aren't set and the right defensives aren't carried out to ensure that the body is kept safe when carrying this sort of projection. Um, so you don't have to worry, because everything, or almost every video I've seen on YouTube so far that talks about astral projection are always talking about lunar projection. And the solar projection is a lot harder. This is the sort of thing you would hear yogis doing. But the soul has actually left the body in this case. Now, in these particular instances, the experience of a solar projection, as in how an individual experiences it, is completely different to a lunar projection. And lunar projection things are still a little bit hazy, a little, what's the word I'm looking for, fluid. And it's very dream-like, a little bit more, it's a little more crystal clear or vivid than a dream. But a solar projection feels real. You can actually touch, you can actually go up to a wall and touch it, and you can actually feel it. You can pick objects up and it feels real to you. By the same time, you can choose to walk through a wall and you'll go through it. Whereas in a in a lunar projection, things are very hazy. You might be in your room and you see your table, your desk, but then also that desk suddenly morphs into the desk that you had 2 years ago, which you threw out. And then suddenly you see the new desk that you're going to get 2 years from now, because there is no time. So it's a little bit scattered. So it's really hard to even put that into words, the difference. But in a solar projection, it's a lot more solid. It feels even more real than this. So, and because there are different densities of astral plane, so there is the lower astral, middle astral, upper astral, then we go into non-dual light and things like that. So now, when we talk about the different densities of experience, that will entirely depend on one's own vibration as to which particular section, if you want to call it that, or which particular density of the astral plane one can experience through astral projection, or would I say solar projection. Right. So it's a completely different experience. Now, solar projection is not something I would recommend anyone doing. As I said, for myself, I can't consciously do it. It happened once by accident, and I've spoken to many other people who I know who are interested in this sort of thing and have a lot of experience, some of them my teachers, and they've said that this sort of thing is, that's a very specific purpose for it, and there's no reason that one really needs to do that sort of work, the solar projection. Whereas lunar projection is a lot safer and can be done by anybody. And I talk about methods to do lunar projection in my particular channel. So if you wish to check that out, please do. And there are many videos on YouTube as well on that particular subject. And that is something that's a lot easier to do as well. And you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry that any of the techniques that you find might lead to a solar projection. You don't have to worry about that. The main thing is, when you're doing any sorts of practices like this, get rid of the fear, because the fear can be a real barrier, first of all, to experiencing these particular experiences, but also fear can cause problems if and when you experience them, because if you're in the astral and you're feeling fear, you're going to start creating all this reasons to actually feel fear. So the best thing to do is when you're experiencing or experimenting with these sorts of things, do it with love in your heart, with compassion, and with an open mind, knowing that you are safe and protected. And if you work with um, a certain form of deity, or you do any form of energy work, do some protection before you do it, and you know you'll be okay. Yeah. So those are the two forms of astral projection: the lunar projection and solar projection. And I hope you found this video interesting. Please give this video a like, please subscribe, and I shall see you soon. Take care.